get to the bag, ayy. Got the foot on the gas, pedal to the metal when the lane moving fast, ayy. Let them all cross. If they hate, then let them hate and make a bigger boss, ayy.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? We are back. We are live. It is the Freight Coach Podcast, the top podcast in transportation, coming to you guys every single weekday, 8:30 a.m. Pacific, 10:30 Central, to break down some industry headlines. But most importantly, you guys provide some actual insight into what you can do with all of this information. If this is your first time tuning in, welcome. This is the real side of freight, ladies and gentlemen. And I do say that before every single show. And what I mean by that is I only speak with transportation professionals, because at the end of the day, I want to talk to the right individuals who have done what you're looking to do or who are currently doing what you're trying to achieve, so you can take that information, apply it, utilize it, and see a meaningful difference in your business and your life. Happy Tuesday, everybody. I got a very special guest for you guys here today. We're going to talk about not freight fraud related stuff and, you know, what's going on in the market and everything. We're talking about some other things, because at the end of the day, you guys, I can only talk about the same topic for so long before I'm like, all right, we got to do something, take that action, and we got to go out there and win. And we have to look at other ways to market your business, sell your business. How are you utilizing AI? Not from writing a generic email to your prospects and everything else. How do you actually utilize these tools to build your brand and get it out there? So I have Mr. RJ Finnegan back on the show. RJ, thank you so much for jumping on here this morning.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.
No, man, I'm looking forward to it. Like I was saying in the intro, I can only talk about that stuff for so long before it's like, all right, guys, we get it. I still have a business to build, right? Like, I can't just sit here and bang the drum on those same topics day in and day out.
Yeah, exactly.
So dude, what's going on in the marketing world, man? Like what's going on behind the scenes here? Like you lead marketing and everything for SPI, and you know, you're constantly tinkering behind the scenes on a bunch of stuff, man. So what's new in your world?
What's new, man? Honestly, it's just trying to keep up with what's going on in the market, and every new tool that comes out seems to be greater than the last one. But really just staying even keel with what works, what doesn't work, and not buying into hype at the end of the day. Yeah.
Dude, so let's talk about that, not buying into the hype, and, you know, content creation in particular and brand building in particular in today's environment, because I can't even scroll through any social media anymore. And you can just tell, I'm not even exaggerating, 95% of my feed on most platforms is all fake AI generated content. It's not even real anymore. So it's like, I'm having such a less and less desire to even go on social media to do this stuff, because I'm like, why would I go out there and look at fake content all day? Like, I love listening. That's why, like, honestly, man, why I enjoy podcasting so much is because at least it's a conversation with a real human being at the end of the day who's living their life and doing that and telling that story.
Exactly. I think what you're definitely seeing, what all of us are seeing now too, is there's a huge shift in what platforms are weighing heavily and trying to push, and everybody wants to be able to study, you know, what are the keywords, the phrases, the hooks, the techniques in order to grab people's attention when it comes to creating good, you know, viral content or content that relates with your audience. And when you have information that can be studied, replicated, and cannibalized by AI, and everyone ends up doing the exact same output, the exact same message. So whether it's video or copywriting or whatever marketing channel you're using in order to speak with your ideal customer base, everyone's using the exact same techniques, and it just becomes replicated regardless if it's AI or not. So being able to have, you know, conversations in person or even on podcasts is what is really starting to differentiate what people want to see. But you also have, you know, platforms weighing their algorithm on, hey, what's getting the best reaction-based type of content and keeping people on our website.
What, dude, I got a lot to break down with that, because it's like, as somebody who literally creates content for a living out there, I'm like, I think one thing I've found success in doing all of this for as long as I have, RJ, is I really just do the opposite of what everybody else is doing, right? Like, when I see everyone running to the right, I turn around and sprint to the left. And I'm like looking at with where we are right now, because it's like so many people are chasing virality, however you pronounce it. I went to public school. I don't know how to pronounce it, but it's like I look at this from a content strategy is it's like, where do you see things like reverting back to? Because like I look at it where it's like there's times, RJ, where I'm like, man, why don't I stop using the nice mic and the nice audio interface and just record an episode on my cell phone just to show that, hey, like we're just a couple of real human beings out here doing it. Do you think we're going to go back to like the Stone Age styles of creating content? Because that might be the only way to tell that you're not an AI generated, thing online anymore.
Exactly. It's kind of like how does an immovable object meet an unstoppable force, right? And unfortunately, I don't see us going back to the Stone Ages. What I do see quite happening now in the landscape is brands, business owners, yourself. You're going to have to start to differentiate yourself in a way that you identify with how people see the world. And that sounds a little bit loaded. It's not necessarily political or how people view the world based off their own biases, but think about the last time you were, on TikTok or Instagram, right? Your algorithm was personally curated to what you like, whether it's fitness content, discipline, motivation, business, entrepreneurship. So everyone has great customer service. Everyone will tout that they're the best in their business when it comes to X, Y, and Z. But what's the shift's going to actually happen to, I kind of call it the modern identity marketing, is can you fit your business, your message into that person's viewpoint on how they see the world? So if someone's very skeptical on like the facts and they just don't believe in science whatsoever, even though doctors and medicine, study research endlessly on this, right? You're going to have to, doesn't matter if Chris Jolly is the best freight coach in the world, if he says, hey, well, the facts say this, automatically people will shut down and say, hey, well, that content might be good, but it doesn't resonate with my viewpoint, right? So what people are creatively going to have to do is, how do you provide identity into your product and service and your content, but also relatability in the viewpoint of what they're seeing through the algorithms that make them stop and reconfirm with like, oh yeah, Chris knows what he's talking about. Yeah, I see that. Yeah.
No, I got you. I mean, Mike Marute, he just commented, he said, you got to chase consistency rather than virality out there. Mm-hmm. And, it's like, I look at it where, if you're going to go out there and you got to stand for something, right? Like, I think then that's one thing that a mistake that I think I even see to this day, right? Where people are trying to, they love to hide behind the word authentic, but they think that they can be authentic for everyone, right? As opposed to planting your flag in the ground and standing for something and like understanding that there's going to be potential blowback for your brand. But I think that's what makes people resonate with brands is it's like, hey, you know what? I align with Chris on this, or you know what? I might not agree with what Chris says about this, but he's not demeaning in his approach. He's not cutting other people down in his viewpoints, in his stances and stuff like that. And it's an educated response. I would like to see more of that come back out there in there because, I mean, dude, you see it. If you scroll through LinkedIn in particular right now, the amount of people who just call out companies, directly, and they're all they're doing is they're chasing negativity. And because that drives the algorithms on every single platform right now. And it's like, I don't know, man, maybe I'm just a little bit older now where it's like I don't think some of these people realize that they're truly being defaming and slanderous, and they're like that. They could get sued for saying some of this stuff just because they're trying to chase a couple of likes.
Exactly. And that's a sad reality too, right? Negativity breeds emotion, which gets interactions and reactions, and it keeps people on the platform as well. So
yeah, it's dude, I heard this saying once I think I read it in a book, and they're like, the age-old media playbook is if it bleeds, it reads. And you got to keep people on your platform. And again, and that's where it's like, if you wonder why all of your algorithms are filled with negativity and everything else, it's because that is what the platforms have identified as what keeps eyeballs on their content the longest, right? Because like, as somebody who goes out there and, I'm very fortunate to have advertisers for my show. People need to see data. They need to see eyeballs. Eyeballs is what sells. Brand awareness, everything. You got to get your stuff out there in front of as many people as possible. But you can do it in a way where you're not cutting down individuals and everything else and only talking about the negative side of things, right? Like, I've often said this, RJ, about this show in particular. I could probably 100x my engagement if I would take a very anti-driver, anti-shipper, anti-insurance. If I would take an anti-stance on anything where I could stoke that emotion in others, I could 100x my engagement on this show. But I also look at it as I don't want to be the boy who cried wolf, right? Like I don't want to be known as, oh yeah, it was great for a little bit, and then he just constantly kept cutting other people down. And then you eventually go off into obscurity, right? Like I've been very conscious about my efforts to keep this platform based on education and insight for the transportation industry, in interviewing people from all walks of life on this industry, in this industry, because I want people to be able to tune into this and hopefully improve their lives without like making them feel worse about themselves after they listen to an episode, you know?
Exactly. Yeah, no, you're in a very unique position too, because you're in it for the long haul and you understand the long-term strategy, when a lot of content or marketing you see online is for short-term gain, which is why people will do those type of reaction-based content, because it'll drive people to their funnel a lot quicker. But then those aren't necessarily long-term customers. If you're selling a crappy course for $50 or $1,000, depending whatever industry you're in, you're attracting low, I don't want to say low frequency, but low value customers that aren't going to necessarily be repeat clients, people that you build relationships as well with too. So
yeah, I look at it, I don't know. I look at it from a long-term strategy here, where it's like, how do, in a sea of negativity, how do you try and separate yourself out there? And I think like, that's what it is it's like, what's your intent, right? Like people will look past, the fact that I curse on this show. We'll put it like that. They'll look at that. They'll look past that because of my intent behind the message, right? Like it's not like it's directed at an individual or a company or anything else. And I think like that's what kind of ties into that authenticity thing that people want, right? Like you might not like what I say on this show, and that's completely fine. But if you meet me in person, I would probably argue that you're going to be like, well, he's the same individual in person as he was online, right? And that's what authenticity truly is. It's standing for something, right? It's having your viewpoints and being not afraid to speak about that. And if somebody disagrees with you on them, you don't shapeshift to try and mold to appease that individual, right? Like I am who I am. I don't want to be, slanderous towards anybody or hurt. But I'm not chasing your acceptance. I'm not going to change my viewpoints on certain core issues that I hold true to myself.
Exactly. And just being able to stay grounded and stay true in who you are is extremely massive, because a lot of people will, well, I shouldn't say a lot of people, but there are people out there that will try to change to fit to every single customer interaction that they have. And I think that's probably one of the hardest parts of just growing up in general, is just understanding, even if you are your authentic self, or if you're a freak, or if you're an outcast, or whoever that might be, you're not going to be able to please everybody. And it doesn't matter. You can be saying all the right things, all the nice things, but there'll still be that person out there that will be sour or bitter or working on their own selves, and they just won't like you for whatever reason. And that's okay. I think that was probably a very hard reality for me to overcome, is being like, I'm just being my authentic self, listen to people saying, hey, be there, listen, support. And it's just, I don't like you, what you're doing is wrong, blah blah blah. And it's, hey, all right, move on, right?
Yeah, dude, a mentor of mine says it best. He said 50% of the people already don't like you, so don't pay attention to the 50% that do, right? And it goes like, let's look at the president, look at Trump, right? Like a guy, for example, is probably one of the most polarizing figures in modern history that is out there. And it's like, he could literally solve world hunger, cure cancer, erase the deficit of this country, and bring world peace, and people would still want him dead. Like that is the literal truth, right? But again, it's like, you got to understand that sometimes no matter what you do or say, people are not going to align with it. And that's fine. Don't pay attention to that stuff, right? And I think like building a brand, that's the route you got to take. And, so you're going to be at the TMSA Elevate Conference here. It's about a month out now at this point. That's all about sales and marketing. What are those main core competencies, of this year's event? What are you guys focusing on?
Yeah, so this year it's really exciting. We have a great board, great group, great, I guess, organization just in general, but really focusing on tracks. And with TMSA tracks, it's a new I guess you could say program that we're bringing to the conference. And what that essentially does is it actually helps people that are in the industry be able to speak with others in similar roles or positions and actually help provide leadership and guidance towards what they want to be. So, if you're a junior marketer or someone that's just coming into, the industry, you can actually join a track to be able to learn and hear from other marketing leaders or sales practitioners and have a proper guided route in proper steps, the proper learnings on what it takes to actually be able to, move up in, a specific industry or a specific role that you're in. So Tracks is something that's very exciting. It's brand new. Actually, we're going to be hosting a virtual track next Tuesday, I believe, which is May 12th. And I suggest anyone that, is a marketing practitioner that wants to attend virtually, please do register as well.
How are you guys working on that right now? Because I feel like, I'm of the mindset marketing and sales is the exact same department, right? Like they're two different things, but they're very closely intertwined out there. So, and then I know, some, depending on the size of the company, they have a brand department as well. So it's like, how do you align that, especially for people who are, whether they're coming into the industry or they're seasoned inside of the industry right now? What are those key things that you guys are seeing from a branding or a marketing perspective that it's like, hey, it's like, this is what people are craving out there. We got to shift our message to kind of align for this. Are you guys using data to kind of back that up right now through SEO and other channels?
You know what? So I can't speak necessarily on the tracks and the data that comes in there. That would be more a question for Jen.
Yeah.
But just in general, in terms of what we are finding is a lot of people, they want to learn the marketing and sales of the industry, but they don't necessarily have the guidance to be able to understand, what steps or what routes there are given in order to actually be able to succeed. I was very fortunate when I first started, oh my God, it's going to be almost 3 years at the end of May here that I've been in the freight industry or with SPI as well. But when I first joined, I was flown to a conference in Savannah, Georgia, and that was a TMSA conference within the first weeks of joining here. And I don't think without having that support, I'd be in the position I am today, just because I was able to meet people that were brand new in the industry that had no idea what freight was as well. So I knew I wasn't the only one. I didn't have to have, the Dunning-Kruger effect, act like I know everything, or, be like, yeah, I know what's happening in freight. And then also I was able to get real data and real conversations with people that helped influence decisions with leadership here, such as, getting a brand new website done, being able to try out XYZ tools. So just being able to have that support system that even if you feel like, oh man, I don't have all the answers, you never will. Let's be honest. You'll never have all the answers, but as long as you have a good support system and a good community that understands what's going on in your sales or marketing role, it's a pretty good community to be a part of.
Do you think most organizations view not having industry experience as an actual strength when it comes to marketing, sales, and everything else? I know where I stand on that, but I'd love to hear your perspective on it, because it's like I look at with where a lot of things are, RJ, specifically inside of transportation, is it's a very old school industry in a lot of regards, right? And I'm of the mindset where sometimes the best perspective is a fresh perspective. Do you think that is what, you've been going to the TMSA now for, multiple years. This is going to be your, probably your third conference, I would assume. But do you think that's where that conference sits? Is it's like, hey, it doesn't matter if you have no experience in the industry or you got 30 years experience in the industry and marketing and sales. This is an environment where you can learn and improve your overall knowledge and maybe the vision of where you want to take your department.
Yeah, I honestly 100% agree. Just having a blank slate mind is probably one of the best advantages you can have when entering this industry, just because one, you don't really understand everything, but two, you're also not having nostalgia of the glory days. So I didn't join back in COVID, but I heard 2020 was the year of profits, revenue, and everybody loved that, right? So if I joined at that time, perhaps I would have, still been, resonating, being like, oh, well, this is how the industry actually is, or this is, what the industry is supposed to be like. But because I don't have that actual experience, I didn't, join during the COVID days. My blank slate coming in and being able to learn and being able to try different, techniques, tactics, and learn with people really helps accelerate my growth, opposed to if I came in with a preconceived notion or understanding of what things are supposed to be. And that's not to say people that do have experience that come back in, won't necessarily be as well. It makes it a little bit more, back in our day, or hey, remember when it was good here, right? You don't necessarily have any of that.
Yeah, I think what we're seeing right now, and I know I said we weren't going to talk about the market that much today, but I think what you just talked about that COVID boom time is, I think there's a lot of people who either came into the industry during that time and, capacity was easy. It was easy to find trucks, hard to find new business potentially. But I think a lot of people forgot what a tight market looked like, and what a market shift looked like. And we're seeing that out there in a lot of markets, right? I was telling you before I went live today, just because you hear rates are up and everything else doesn't mean people are looking for new providers. You guys, I got rejected twice already this morning, but I look at it as from where things were pre-COVID, we'll talk about that. Having that frontline experience of knowing how the market shift actually goes, I think is going to help you market your business out there to your new prospects, right? Because when we're coming off of a historically easy capacity market, and most people, RJ, still haven't even seen a tight market, right? Rates are up, but it's not like freight sitting on a dock for 3 days because there's no trucks in the area, right? That's a tight market. We haven't even seen that yet. And people need to be prepared for that. But it's I look at it now where it's dude, there's so many tools that are at our disposal where we can shake up an old school industry. And I think that the companies that are going to be best suited to really shake things up moving forward are going to be the ones who have that old school industry experience, but have a new school mindset on how do we market our business? How do we utilize AI properly? Because it's not a piece of technology that is going to save your business, right? So it's how do you use some of this stuff to really start packing a higher punch? Because my true heart of hearts believes this, RJ. We are at a even playing field right now in the industry. It does not matter if you're the largest broker in the industry or you're a one-person operation working out of your home office. You have pretty much the exact same tools at your disposal right now than everybody, right? There's nobody out there who, they might have proprietary technology, but it's not 100x better than what's available on the market, right? Your off-the-shelf software and technology that's out there right now has equalized the playing field. And then on top of it, if you go out there and you start getting familiar with utilizing Gemini or ChatGPT and everything else, dude, you can 10x your output, and all the data, all the information that's at your fingertips is just like you're the largest freight broker in North America right now. So that's the opportunity I see here over the next 5 years.
I agree completely. I think what's quite interesting is what you said is the playing field has been completely leveled, and I find the ones that are successful, the ones that really do stand out is, back in the day, everybody was focused on intelligence, IQ, and GPA, and hey, I went to X school, and Stanford and all that. What's fascinating now is it's the people that are able to be intelligently creative, and what that means is to be able to, one, understand how the tool works, but how are you creatively using it, right? Everybody can come in and type in a prompt and say, hey, do this for me, or hey, make this for me. But do you understand the tool inside and out? And then also, how is it creatively being used, right? Is it speaking like you? Is it operating the same way you do? Is it being able to notice the mistakes or the opportunity gaps? And that takes a certain level of creativity that I feel a lot of people that do well and stand out, they understand the basis of oh, I got to think of this creative. It sounds like making a song or making a meal or making a dish, right? I got to bring in different ingredients here and different ingredients here, and I can get the same result as an Enterprise 500 company just by being able to understand what that looks like. And then I also don't have to go down a 500 list bureaucracy chain to get approval on some feature that I want to be able to use, right?
Yeah. I also look at it if you pay attention, let's just look at its sales for a second here in new business. And probably what you guys are going to be talking about in some of these tracks at the conference here, RJ. But I look at it now where, dude, you get frontline access to some of the largest logistics managers and shipping managers in North America just based on their LinkedIn posts, right? Where it's like, I'm very fortunate to have a very secret shipper audience that DMs me and emails me all the time about stuff. You guys would be shocked at it, but it's like, I do that. And then I'm connected to a lot of them on LinkedIn. They're literally telling you, this is how you prospect me. All right. Like, it's so bad out there. It's so AI and fake. Like, you can stand out in a crowd so much easier. And in a lot of these shipping managers that I'm seeing out there, they're begging organizations to actually train their sales reps on how to prospect. And I've never seen that level of access to like behind the scenes thinking of some of these. And these are, employees of Fortune 500 companies, right? Like, they move 10,000 shipments a week style shippers, right? And they're telling you, guys, this is how you prospect me. And it's amazing how it falls on deaf ears. Like, you could take that, you could look at that, and most people are going to be like, no, that person's wrong. I'm going to keep doing it my way. And it's like, dude, I don't know, man. That's why I think like the playing field is so much more level right now than a lot of people even want to comprehend, because it's always easier to blame the boogeyman, right, RJ? It's always easy to blame, oh, AI this and oh, the market that. It's like, no, there's opportunities out there. Are you committed to perfecting your craft, utilizing some of these tools to actually look way more polished than you might even potentially be?
Yeah, exactly. I think it's so I'm not like the best salesperson in the world by any means, but I think what I do realize is when I do talk to some people and they say to me, hey, sales is just a number game, you got to hit as many as possible. While there is some truth to that, I think the landscape has shifted, like you said, to being able to properly use tools to understand profiles, to understand how people want to be spoken to. And you have to be able to have a skill, and that's proper prospecting as well, right? You can blast out as many crappy emails as possible. No, that doesn't take any skill whatsoever. But to be able to prospect properly and be able to understand what people are looking for and what they want and speak to them that type of way is a skill that people will need to be able to develop and hopefully have when reaching out to them.
Yeah, I talk about, I literally keep this book on my desk. It's The Revenue Engine. Kara Smith Brown, she's in the industry, founder of Lead Coverage. Read this one because she talks about that, right? And that book, I am actually going to reread it for a second time here because it fundamentally changed how I prospect. And it's like helping me identify, because it isn't a numbers game at all. Like I look at, like, yes, you need a specific amount of touches, and people have probably heard me say that, but I have a finite amount of touches I can make as a human being every day. I'm not going to have an AI dialer in my company or an AI email assistant. I'm not doing that. It is going to come from Chris and Chris's team. But knowing that, I have my target market whittled down, man. Like, I have it down to a revenue number we won't exceed, and then a freight volume number that we won't exceed or drop below. Because like, I've just found that some of those shippers, like, again, some of my friends that are enterprise shippers that move 10,000 loads a week, for example, like, I can't put a dent in their shit right now, right? So it's like, why am I going to go after them to try and get their business? So it's like knowing who not to call, knowing who not to prospect is just as valuable as knowing who, because like, you have to identify your leads. You have to whittle it down to like, this is my actual core target market. If they said, hey, Chris, yeah, we love what you're saying, let's go, you're going to be able to fit into their operation and add value to their organization. Otherwise, you've just spent years prospecting some of these companies to get kicked out before you even move your first shipment, essentially.
Exactly. And being able to research properly who you want to work with, who your ideal market is, and then being able to niche down is extremely, extremely valuable. And the fact that you said, the fact you're at a point where you're able to then manually do it yourself and know exactly how many you want to do each day, have it be you, have it know that you sent that message is extremely valuable as well. And it's a catch-22 because you're your own independent business owner. But I can only imagine, right, if you're working for a big enterprise company and they're saying, hey, bang out these X amount of numbers, I don't care, I'm not going to name any industries or companies or defame them. But there are those people that do have those constraints where they say, well, I got to reach out to everyone or else I'm going to get canned or sacked, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's it, right? Like, I mean, how many people out there are KPI? You got to make 100 dials a day. And 90 of the companies that they're calling don't move freight, or they move one parcel shipment a year or something like that. And it's like, I would rather take my approach. I'm not perfect, right? But I'd rather take my approach of, it's like, if I'm going to make 35 to 40 outreaches a day, it's to 35 or 40 companies that are in my target market, that if they say, yeah, Chris, let's talk, I know that's an actual convertible lead at that point, as opposed to me making 100 dials a day and maybe 10 of those are inside of it. And then again, if you're calling a food shipper on one call, an LTL, and interject any different freight type in there, you sound like a moron, right? Like, I will say, you sound like a moron because you don't know the intricacies of their operation, and they're going to hang up on you like instantly. Like, they can tell. And I think, like, again, this is where you can utilize tech to build up customer profiles, to whittle down that lead list, to go make sure that your target market is in fact one that you could add value to.
Exactly. Time is money. And if you're able to niche down, you're saving yourself a lot of time.
Dude, amen. RJ, thank you so much for your time today. How does anybody reach out to you to find out more about TMSA? Do they go to the website? Put all that out there for them.
Yeah, for sure. So check out tmsa.org. You can see the Elevate Conference as well. The date is June 6th to 10th, or June 6th to 9th. So make sure you get registered. You can reach out to me on LinkedIn if you have any questions as well. But yeah, very excited for the conference. Hopefully you can attend. And yeah, thanks for having me, Chris.
Perfect. Anytime, RJ. If you guys can't find RJ or the TMSA Elevate Conference, hit me up. I will gladly put you guys in direct contact with them. But that is going to be it for today, ladies and gentlemen. As always, if you got value in what you heard and you're not subscribed, subscribe to the show, you guys. And if you're feeling ambitious, rank that show on iTunes and Spotify, because if you see value, your network's going to see it as well. I appreciate you guys. I love you guys. And we'll be talking to you soon.
Came back with a bang, window down, yelling out money, anything, ayy.